Om Shri Sai Ram, offering our most humble and reverential pranams at the divine lotus feet of our most beloved Bhagawan. Respected elders and my dear brothers and sisters, a loving Sai Ram to one and all present here in this 59th edition of Samarpan held during the month of Holy Mahashivratri. Today, we are blessed to have amongst us our very own and very dear Brother Neeraj Acharya. Brother Neeraj Acharya has been blessed to be born in a family which has been in Swami's fold since 1960s. In the early part of his life, he joined Bal Vikas and also served as a volunteer in Dharmakshetra. During this period, he completed his Bachelor's in Engineering and Mechanics from the Sardar Patel College of Engineering in Mumbai and then worked for a period of 2 years in Mumbai itself before Bhagawan blessed him to be a part of the MBA program of the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning in Prasanthi Nilayam in the year 1995. Post 1997, on Bhagwan's divine command, he went to Jakarta, Indonesia to serve in a large garment export company for a period of 4 years. His longing to serve Bhagawan in his divine physical proximity brought him back to Prasanthi Nilayam in the year 2001. Subsequently, Bhagawan graciously blessed him to work in the medical division of the Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust, post which he has served in various capacities in the trust and hospital of the Sri Sathya Sai Institutes in Prasanthi Nilayam. In the year 2017, he moved back to Mumbai to be with his parents and is currently serving in the Tata Trust as the lead of procurement. Brother Neeraj Acharya has been a tabla player of the Prasanthi Bhajan group and has performed on various occasions at Prasanthi Nilayam and elsewhere. He also accompanied Bhagawan on n number of occasions to Kodaikanal and was a part of the Swami's entourage to Mumbai and Hachi in the year 2009. I would now request Brother Neeraj Acharya to come up on stage and share his thoughts with us. Brother Neeraj Acharya.
Offering my loving pranams at the lotus feet of our most beloved Bhagawan, who is always present with us at every moment now, with each one of us, wherever we are. And my loving Sairam to all the brothers and sisters who are gathered here, and a hearty welcome. Once, when Swami was talking to a group of people, devotees in the interview room, about 8 to 10 of them, he asked one question. Generally, he would ask the question and ask answers from people in the interview. So he asked this question, who is a guru? So there were a couple of them in the group. Some were teachers, some were ardent devotees, some were scholars of Vedanta. So 2, 3 of Swami went through each one of them. So what is your definition? So somebody said, Guru, Gunatita, Rupatita, Guru is somebody who removes the darkness of ignorance, and so on. So the whole round was over, and after the complete circle was done, Swami kept on smiling at each answer, and he finally said, "Isse thoda simple ho sakta hai." And Swami gave a definition. He said, Guru is the one who corrects. Just one simple line. Guru is the one who corrects. I have not heard of any definition simpler than this one of Guru. And intention of today's session will be, what I intend to do is to share some learnings that I have experienced from whatever I have learned from Bhagawan in his presence through various interactions or experiences that I have had with our divine Sadguru. it is said that Paras money or alchemist is somebody who whatever he touches becomes gold, right? Any object, maybe metal or whatever. I don't know whether Paras money ever existed or whether alchemy will anytime come or alchemist will come. But one thing for sure, I can say with confidence that I have experienced an alchemist who touched the lives of people to make them golden. And that is our beloved Bhagwan, whom we had the opportunity to stay with. Definitely something that I can vouch from my experience, and is not just one life. I have heard thousands of people talking about it, how their lives have turned golden once Bhagwan touched them in whichever way they were. And probably that is the reason Swami will always call us Bangaru. It was not just as one way of calling, but I felt that he really meant that when he called somebody as Prema Swarupalara or Bangaru, he really felt that other person was the embodiment of love or was a goal by itself. In my life, the first touch of the Lord happened actually on day one, right from the day one. My grandfather was somebody who came to Bhagawan from 1960s, late 60s, and he was introduced to Bhagawan through a devotee, his very close friend called Mr. Shetia, a very ardent follower of Bhagawan. He had done a lot of works in Prasanthi Nilayam, and Swami had given in a couple of interactions, interviews, and he was very close physically to Bhagawan. So my grandfather was introduced to Bhagawan by Mr. Shetia, and my grandfather was a very ardent devotee of Lord Shiva in the form of Mahabaleshwar, who is our Kula Daivat. So when Mr. Shetia told him that there is somebody like Satyasai in Puttaparthi, he said, that's all fine. I mean, I respect him, but for me, my Mahabaleshwar is the topmost. I have that, and that is enough. I don't require any Swami or any saint or any other god for that matter. However, he had respect for Bhagavan, and in fact, he had got a very, so to say, a coincidental or whatever darshan of Bhagavan in Karwar when Bhagavan had visited Karwar, the place from where my grandfather belonged to. And he used to respect Bhagavan, but for him, his god Mahabaleshwar was the topmost, and he said there is nothing else other than Shiva. So it happened that when I was born in Kolhapur and my grandfather had come there, and he was a bit worried that my mother was not that well, and he was praying to his Shiva, Mahabaleshwar. And it happened that when he was in Karwar, he happened to meet Mr. Shetia in Karwar, who had come to meet somebody there. And they were talking to each other, and Mr. Shetia asked him, "You seem to be worried." And my grandfather said that I'm worried about my daughter. I'm about to get a grandchild. And there, Mr. Shetia tells him he just rummaged through his pocket and took out a packet of vibhuti, and he gave it to my grandfather and said, "Pai, this is for you, for your grandchild who's going to come." He said a few days ago he was in Prasanthi Nilayam, and Swami had given him materialized and given him vibhuti and told him, "Keep it with you," which he had kept with him, which he passed it on to my grandfather. And my grandfather kept it with him all through. And my mother recollects that on the day I was born, and as I was brought out from the labor room, the first thing that my grandfather did was to take out that vibhuti, and he applied a long tika, vibhuti tika on my forehead. And as I was just watching the video which was just played, the very source of vibhuti that we saw, the Sai Shiva, I was really fortunate that he sent vibhuti to reach me on my day one, on the first day that I was born. And that is the kindness of our beloved Bhagawan. However, this is only a part of his miracle, but his miracle is how he impacts our lives. And that is something that I would like to share. My grandfather later on moved to Mumbai and used to have darshan of Bhagwan in Bombay. And Swami used to come that time at least twice in a year, typically in month of January and again in month of May. And in fact, my grandfather purchased a house in Vile Parle so that it is very easy to come to Dharmakshetra. So he used to come very often whenever Swami visited Dharmakshetra. And he tells once when he was sitting here, right where the current Jalan Mandap is. That time there was no Mandap, of course, and it was a plain land, sloping land. And Swami had come and he was giving darshan, and my grandfather was sitting right behind somewhere at probably where the dispensary is now. And Swami was sitting on the throne. Bhajan was going on, and my grandfather was enjoying the bhajans, looking at Bhagwan. And suddenly, at one point, he saw a very bright ray of light coming from Bhagawan and directly hitting my grandfather. And he says that from that day, my grandfather got that conviction that this Mahabaleshwar, the Shiva whom I was worshipping, is the same Shiva in the form of Satyasai. And after that, for him, there was no difference. Satyasai and Shiva were same. And maybe it is not coincident that we are having this session today, just a few days before Shivratri, when we are going to worship Lord Shiva. So, in fact, after that, my grandfather would always address Swami as Sai Mahabaleshwar. And for him, Swami and Mahabaleshwar or Shiva was one and the same. And in fact, Swami confirmed this much later in one of the interviews when my mother mentioned to Bhagawan that her father, my grandfather, he had a very strong faith in Bhagawan until in his last moments he remembered you. And Swami said, yes, a man with very, 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 very steady mind. And he said, हाँ, स्वामी के ऊपर बहुत faith था, but Mahabaleshwar को end तक नहीं छोड़ा. So he corroborated, he sort of confirmed that what conviction my grandfather had, that the Shiva and the Sai are one and the same. Swami more or less sort of, maybe for our satisfaction, he confirmed that yes, he is the same Shiva who had come in the form of Sai in our lives. And thanks to our grandfather, my mother also came into the Bal Vikas fold as a Bal Vikas guru, and later on also became to be Bal Vikas trainer. And in that whole thing, my brother and me, all of us, we also joined Bal Vikas. We used to come frequently to Dharmakshetra to a Swami's darshan. Once in a while in Prasanthi Nilayam, our first visit was in 1983 when there was a Bal Vikas World Conference. That was first time ever I went to Prasanthi to have Swami's darshan. But in Bombay, we used to have this darshan very often. And Bal Vikas and Dharmakshetra has been a sort of a touchstone in my life and how it transformed. And I'll just like to share a couple of things on that. So, as a part of Bal Vikas, every year when Swami comes, we would present some program or the other. So, 1982, there was a program in which one episode was called as Sant Darshan. And there from each Samiti, selected boys and girls were made to dress into one saint, like as you see here, and we were supposed to know what that saint stood for, what was their message, and during the exhibition, tell about that message to everyone. So here I was dressed as I was given the role of Tukaram, what you see on the left side, and somehow I enjoyed doing that role, and I understand a lot of people who were around, they enjoyed me being dressed up as Tukaram. Personally, for me, it was a message from Bhagawan that have that one-pointed devotion and faith like Tukaram in the Sai Vitthal that we had in our lives. And that's what was my first learning point from this particular episode that Bhagawan gave me. And just after this, we had a rally which went around Bombay and ending up in Shivaji Park ground, where Swami was supposed to come and bless all of us. So when we reach, I think this is on the trailer or the truck on which we travel. So when we reach Shivaji Park, that year the theme of Bal Vikas was announced as waste not but save. So don't waste energy, don't waste money, don't waste food. So on that theme, we were supposed to contemplate, and as a token of representation of that theme, Swami had decided to distribute piggy banks. I still remember blue color piggy banks with white letters inscribed. And the idea was all the students will keep it in their homes, save from their pocket money, and use it for some good purpose, Narayan Seva or whatever. So it was announced, and I remember that time Kamla auntie, who was so gracious, she called me. The plan was that one student, Balvika student from boys' side and one from girls' side, will go up to stage to receive one basket from Bhagawan as a blessing, and afterwards, all the piggy banks will be distributed to the students. So from boys' side, Kamla auntie selected me to be there, and I went up to the stage, and Bhagawan handed over that basket of piggy banks. I received it from Bhagawan's hand. This was my first ever sort of a physical close interaction with Swami. I was a bit nervous, as usual. And as I came down from the stage, Kamala auntie held my hand and said, just like, be here, wait here. So I stood there. Just after a couple of minutes, she announced that now, on behalf of all the students that have gathered here, now we will have a presentation of garland to Bhagawan, which is in the next slide. And I was fortunate to be selected to garland Bhagawan just after that. And I went up to stage again and was blessed to garland Bhagawan, which perhaps is a very rare occasion. And I understand that later on Swami stopped the practice after a couple of years of receiving garland. So I was fortunate to get this chance to garland Bhagawan in Mumbai, in Shivaji Park. So in a way, Bhagawan developed that sort of physical closeness, but I was still, for me, maybe like a child, any child has. For me, Bhagawan was somebody whom we look up to whenever we are having some trouble, or typically when we want to go for exams, especially if the question paper the next day is going to be the toughest one. And then we remember Bhagawan, or whenever we are in a difficulty or when we are not well or whatever. Typically, that's how the child's mind works. And for me also, it was more or less of that nature. I didn't focus on his message much, but of course, I loved him as my God. But Swami, like a guru, doesn't stop at the kg. He wants you to progress ahead. So the next incident happened right here where we are sitting, exactly 1 year later, 1983. And that year, the theme of Bal Vikas was, there was an exhibition which was put up here. And the theme was science and spirituality. And each Samiti had done a small exhibit which we had put up in all. There was a classroom here. This was a school. And in fact, the second half of this hall was still having classrooms. And I remember I must be somewhere in the end of the hall. There was a classroom here. In that room, my exhibit was there. And from each Samiti, 2 Bal Vikas students were selected to be near the exhibit and explain to the visitors. So I was selected from my Samiti in Ghatkopar. And I was standing somewhere here, must be in the room here. And we were eagerly waiting for Bhagawan to come. This time it is Nimish Bhai who calls me. And he says, come, Neeraj. And he takes me to the entrance of this building. And he tells that after 10 minutes, Swami is going to come. You will present the matchbox to Swami and request him to light the lamp to open the exhibition. That was sort of out of the bolt it came. A very nervous moment at that point. Initially, I had just garlanded Bhagawan, and now I have to talk to him. So I was a bit getting agitated. But anyway, it was a good chance. So I thought, why not take it? So I remember I asked Nimish Bhai, Uncle, what should I tell Bhagawan? So he said, you tell Bhagawan, whatever you feel, you tell that, oh, light the lamp and inaugurate. I said, fine. So I waited there, and within just few minutes, Bhagawan arrived. So right outside this hall, the lamp was kept, and Swami came up, And as he came near, I offered the matchbox to Bhagawan and I told him, Bhagawan, आपसे प्रेयर है कि आप ये लैम्प को जला के एग्जीबिशन का ओपनिंग कीजिए. तो स्वामी said, हाँ, जरूर जरूर करके he blessed, smiled, lit the lamp, one stroke of light, lit the lamp and moved ahead. And as was told to me, as soon as Swami started going around, I came back to my room. And that's the photo of that room. So Swami went around and came to the room where I was standing. And as he entered, the expression on his face was, he's the same boy whom I saw there. That sort of expression. He's the same fellow. A roly-poly. That was me that time. So he came near and he asked me, what is your name? So this time, first time ever, Swami asking me a question. So first it was Garland. Second time it was me asking something to Bhagawan. And now it was Swami asking something to me. And I was completely nervous. And I just murmured my name. And Swami said, Jor se bolo. And then I said my name again. Swami, my name Neeraj Acharya. And Swami said, Acharya. And he gave me a big pat on my right shoulder. As if to convey the message or the learning I got from that episode was two things. A guru always has some learning to give whenever he does something. So for me, the learning was, learning one, be confident of what you're doing. That is point number A. And learning two was, don't be afraid of God. Don't fear God. You love God. And that's what a learning I learned at age of 11 from Bhagawan. This was the second episode with in Bhagawan's proximity that I had. And through this, Bal Vikas and the rally that happened in Prasanthi Nilayam, I got to know more about Bhagawan, his life and his teachings. And Dharmakshetra has been sort of a launching pad for me in every sense, in the sense to connect me to Bhagawan in his physical form, to know him, to interact with him as a student, and to learn of what his message is. So before we move ahead, I thought, let's have a small video. Let's see a small video on Dharmakshetra, which, and I thank my brother Neeraj Acharya, who has made this small documentary on Dharmakshetra, which described what Dharmakshetra is and what it stands for. Let's have a look at it.
यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानमधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम् परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे.
ఈ భగవద్గీత యందు మొట్టమొదటి శ్లోకంలో మొట్టమొదటి పదము ధర్మక్షేత్రే కురుక్షేత్రే. ఆ ధర్మక్షేత్రం అనేటువంటిది మొట్టమొదటి పదంగా ఉంది.
The first word in the first sloka of stanza in this Bhagavad Gita talks of Dharmakshetra.
ఈ ధర్మక్షేత్రం ఏమిటి? మన యొక్క దేహమే ధర్మక్షేత్రం.
What is this Dharmakshetra? Our body itself is Dharmakshetra.
సక్రమమైనటువంటి కర్మలు ఆచరించినప్పుడే ఇది ధర్మక్షేత్రం అవుతుంది.
But when you do good deeds, then certainly the body could be called Dharmakshetra.
దుర్మార్గమైనటువంటి కార్యములో పాల్గొన్నప్పుడు ఇది కురుక్షేత్రం అయిపోతుంది.
But you become evil, tread the evil path, then it becomes Kurukshetra.
కనుక ధర్మక్షేత్రంతో ప్రారంభించి ఎత్ర యోగిశ్చర కృష్ణ ఎత్ర పాప్తో ధనుద్రః తత్ర శ్రీ విజయోర్భూతి యువానీతిర్మతిర్మమ. ఈ అంతిమైనటువంటి యొక్క శ్లోకం లోపల భగవంతుడితో లీనం కావటం.
And then in the end stanza, when you wage this battle on the streets of Kurukshetra, you achieve success, you become one with the Lord.
So those beautiful golden days of Dharmakshetra sort of inspired me to know more about what happens in Prasanthi Nilayam and his education institutions. But as far as my educational career is concerned, one thing that I was very clear about when I was in my school, that I wanted to pursue my engineering and then go abroad, do my MS and settle down there. This was very clear in my mind. And with Bhagawan's grace, I got admission into a good college in Bombay. And my cousin, who was sort of my role model, he had told me, once you complete your engineering, you apply for the exams which are required for you to apply abroad. Once you get good marks, getting you the connects, getting you the scholarships, all we will be done. Don't worry, we'll get it done. So I was very clear what my academic path is going to be. And I was almost near the completion of my engineering, and the year was 1992, when the first time, inspired by the seva that I was doing in Dharmakshetra, I thought I should go to Prasanthi Nilayam to do Prasanthi Seva. So 92 September, I had some holidays from college and I went to Prasanthi Nilayam, my first ever Prasanthi Seva. And incidentally, it was my mother and brother Litesh. We three of us, we went together, and all three of us were posted for duty in hospital. I never even imagined that maybe about 10 years later I will be working there. I had not even a small thought about it. So we did our duty there, and that time the Sevadal duration used to be 15 days. And at the end of 15 days, the most beautiful event that any Sevadal will look forward would happen, and that is Pad Namaskar. For all the toil or all the passions that you might get as Sevadal, the sort of a compensation is when you get to be near Bhagawan and get his Pad Namaskar. So we are, of course, all eagerly awaiting to have Bhagawan's Namaskar. And I was praying that Swami should give me guidance in my academic career the way I thought it should be, but the plans are different. God has different plans. Just to give a glimpse of, I think many would have seen those days when Swami used to give Pad Namaskar, but just for sort of reviving those memories for you as well as for me, I'll play a small clip of Sevadal Pad Namaskar. Before that, this was my inspiration in Dharmakshetra, a beautiful group of youth led by our most beloved Tushar Bhai, who was instrumental in inspiring many students to go to Prasanthi Nilayam. And many are here, including some of the organizers of this program like Siddharth. We used to come here every Sunday and many times Saturday and Sundays, and do seva. In fact, my first seva, I think Litesh was instrumental in bringing me here as Dharmakshetra Sevadal. We used to clean the same hall, Shanti Deep Hall, and the stairs outside. It was a wonderful time. And the best part of the whole session was, after having the duty done here, cleaning Sathya Deep or the compound wall, in the evening around 4:30, we would assemble for a tea break, and we will order some snacks from the nearby shop, have hot tea made by our Shetty sir, who has been there with us right from that time. And along with the hot tea and snacks, we would read out letters coming from Prasanthi Nilayam. Many students who from Dharmakshetra had gone to Prasanthi, and they used to write letters. That time there was no email, of course. This was in 92. So we would read the letters and they would write beautifully about Bhagawan, and we would enjoy them. So some of these sessions where we used to have this nice bhojan along with bhajan right here in Shantiti. So that sort of led me to this spirit of seva that Swami emphasizes on. And from there I went on to do 1992, the Prasanthi Seva in Prasanthi Nilayam. And just let's have a look at that video that gives us a glimpse of what would happen in that typical Pad Namaskar session. And it has a big turning point in my life, which I will describe to you later. Let's have a look at the video.
साई तेरे चरणों में कोटि प्रणाम, साई तेरे चरणों चरणों में कोटि प्रणाम। साईं तेरे चरणों में कोटि प्रणाम। साईं तेरे चरणों में कोटि प्रणाम। शरण में ले लो साईं प्रभो, शरण में ले लो साईं प्रभो, शरण में ले लो साईं प्रभो, शरण में ले लो साईं प्रभो। साईं तेरे चरणों में कोटि प्रणाम। साईं तेरे चरणों में कोटि प्रणाम। तुम हो मेरे माता पिता साईं, 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 तुम हो मेरे बंधु सखा, 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 तुम हो मेरे सब कुछ साईं, तुम हो मेरे सब कुछ साईं, तुम हो मेरे सब कुछ साईं, तुम हो मेरे सब कुछ साईं। दीजो हमको शरण तुम्हारी, दीजो हमको शरण तुम्हारी, दीजो हमको शरण तुम्हारी, दीजो हमको शरण तुम्हारी।
So this is how typically Sevadal Pad Namaskar session would happen. And we would get a chance to be at least near Bhagawan, if possible, to give letters. And typically, when it came to Sevadal Pad Namaskar, Swami would receive letters. Normally, he had that, always has that special corner for Sevadal. A chance of talking very remote. So the day previous to the Pad Namaskar day for us, we were in the room, and when we were talking about what anticipation of what will happen the next day, both my mother and brother Litish asked me, why not you ask Bhagawan what you should do now that you are in final year of engineering, what you should do after your engineering is over. So my immediate thought in my mind was that I am very clear that what I want to do. I want to complete engineering and go out and do MS. But anyway, I had another thought that it's a good chance that I can pray to Bhagawan to bless me in my academic career. I will get a chance to be near him and maybe even take his blessings for my future academics. So as I said, fine. So there was no assurity of any conversation, any talk. So I said, one good way of doing is what we call it as the sixth way of sadhana, bhakti sadhana, which is the postal sadhana, letter. That is the typical slang in hostel. We call it the sixth type of bhakti, postal bhakti. So I wrote a letter in which, a small letter, half page, praying to Bhagawan that Swami, I am in my final year and please guide me what I should do. Please bless me. And I sat and we did a small mock rehearsal of what typically the session would be. And actually this is a very slow motion video. Typically when Swami would walk, he'll be very brisk. So you will hardly get 1 or 2 seconds to offer letter, take Pad Namaskar, if at all a conversation that is if you are blessed. So we practice, we did a mock practice that what we should do. So the idea is that to save on time, the whole thing was the moment Swami enters our aisle, I would go on sit on my knees like Vajrasan in that pose. So when Swami comes near, I can quickly get up, give my letter, and if possible, talk to Bhagawan. So the next photo, please. Yeah. So we were fortunate. We got a photo of that event where you can see. So Swami came in that as he came towards us, I went on my knees and I offered my letter to Bhagawan. That is in this photo. It is Brother Litesh who is offering letter, and I am next to him, ready to get my chance. So as Swami came near, I offered my letter to Bhagawan and I quickly uttered to him, Swami, engineering के final year में हूँ, उसके आगे क्या करना? So Swami was busy taking so many letters and blessing chocolates and so many things. So immediately there was no response. So I didn't want to miss Pad Namaskar. So I quickly bent down, took Namaskar. As I got up, Swami had already gone about 2 steps ahead, but he stopped. He turned and he said, huh? As if to ask, what did you say? So I again repeated, Swami. I just went ahead near him and said, Swami, engineering के final year में हूँ, इसके बाद क्या करना? So Swami looked into my eyes and very, very simply he just said one sentence, chance मिलेगा तो MBA करो. Mark the words, chance मिलेगा तो MBA करो. This is what he said, and he moved ahead. And what we spoke about alchemist in the beginning, the alchemist requires just one touch to change the life. After that episode, when I came back to room, I told my mother and Litesh that if at all I do anything after my engineering, it is MBA in Bhagwan's college, nothing else. The whole plan changed. And I was absolutely charged up that let me now prepare myself to appear for the entrance exam in Prasanthi Nilayam. So thanks to our Sevadal group in Dharmakshetra, I got a lot of guidance from my senior brothers as well as Tushar Bhai. And this was 93, I completed my engineering. And typically the exams go on till June. So that year, of course, I couldn't apply. I got a campus placement and started working in Mumbai. And next year I applied as planned. And I was absolutely clear. Bhagawan has given a go-ahead, given the blessings. Everything will be through. So to tell you honestly, I didn't prepare well for the exam. I thought it will be all okay. I purchased some 1 or 2 books, prepared, just went through a little bit. And went for the exams, April of 1994. And when the question paper came, there is a multiple choice question paper. When the paper came, I was floored because it was really tough for me. And I thought I won't clear. And there is a negative marking, so you can't guess. So I attempted whatever I could, prayed to Bhagawan, whatever I could apply my logical reasoning and wrote, marked some answers, came out. I was totally down and I thought I'm off. I won't be able to, because there is a filtering after the written exams. Only if you have certain qualifying marks in the written exam, you can go for group discussion and interview. So I thought this is very difficult because I have not done well. So I prayed to Bhagawan in the evening bhajans in Mandir. Next day morning, the list will be put up in college. So I went there hesitatingly next day morning. Went through the list. My name didn't appear somewhere on top. So I just ran through. Somewhere in the end, my name was there. And I was greatly relieved that this is Swami's grace. He's really kind that he has taken me off the written exam. And I was very sure I will do well in group discussion and interview because I had a lot of plus points. 1, I belonged to a Sathya Sai family right from my childhood. 2, I had done my engineering, which generally gets a preference in MBA course. 3, I was a Sevadal in Dharmakshetra. And 4, I had some work experience as well. So that is added qualification. So I was very sure it will go on well. And it did. The group discussion was fairly well. So there was some grilling as usual from Registrar and Vice Chancellor, but that is happens usually. But I replied well. Finished the exams. And I had to come back to Mumbai because I was still working in Mumbai. I didn't have that many holidays. It was my first year of working. So I came back and I had told somebody in Prasanthi that when the results come up about 10 days later, you please let me know. For me as a trainee, that was my first year as a training. So getting out of the organization was just 1 week notice. So I was prepared. As soon as the results come out, I'm selected, I drop my papers and come off. And I was really prepared well in terms of my luggage and what I have to prepare to come to Prasanthi Nilayam. And about 10 days later, when the results were announced, I get a call from Vrindavan. The results, because Swami is in Vrindavan, the typical system is the shortlisted candidates list goes to Vrindavan, it is presented to Bhagawan. Bhagawan approves it and then it is published. So the Sai sister from there called up and we were about 6 of us from Dharmakshetra who had applied. So she starts reading one by one. Oh, this person, he got UG. This person, he got MSc and something. I thought my thing will come in the end, MBA, post-graduation later. And she read out 4 or 5 names. My name didn't come. And in the end, she said, Neeraj bhai, your name is not there in the list. And I was completely shattered. This was in the office around 2:30 in the afternoon. And I was absolutely shattered, shaken to the core. And I just didn't know what to do. And I told my senior then that I am not well, I have to go back home. And I rushed back. I went home and cried. And I was in a way a little cut up with Bhagawan also. I wanted to do engineering and MS. You asked me to do MBA. I applied and then you disqualify. I mean, this is not fair. This was my thought process. So I was one way a bit despondent, a bit agitated, and I was sobbing when I reached home. My mother said, don't take it to your heart. Maybe next year you should try. But then what is the assurity of next year? That and then your monkey mind starts playing. So I used to think that Swami said, chance milega to MBA karo. So where is the assurity, right? Chance milega to MBA karo. He didn't assure me of this. Second thought which comes, MBA, is it MBA degree, or that time we used to often have this thing that MBA is mind on Baba always. You better keep your mind on Baba always. Forget about the degree. All these sort of thoughts come into my mind, and what would happen? I was in a suddenly you get this dilemma. Should I continue studying or I just forget and continue my seva in Dharmakshetra? What happened was I didn't want to give up, of course. So I joined a CAT training course in Mumbai. And what would happen in the classes will typically happen on weekdays late in the evening, and on Saturdays, Sundays we'll have exams and tutorials. So because of that, I was not able to come to Dharmakshetra that often because I had to go for the classes. So there the mind started playing again. See, now you are preparing for MBA, you are not able to come to Dharmakshetra, you are not sure whether you will get seat in Prasanthi. Why to waste time? So I said, the best way for this is ask the Guru. Guru is the one who corrects. He will tell me what is the right path. Should I apply or not apply? What is the way to ask Bhagawan? That time there was not much chance to get direct guidance from Bhagawan. Incidentally, it happened again. It was in the month of, I think it was October of 94. All of us, the whole family, we went to, Swami was in Vrindavan that time. So we went to Vrindavan, had beautiful darshans. And my father was working. So after 4 or 5 days, all of them came back to Mumbai. I had some extra days leave, so I stayed back. I wanted to get that answer from Bhagawan. It is yes or no. And I had told Bhagawan, you tell me, I am ready to accept whatever you say. If you say no, I am okay to drop my entrance exam and I will not apply to Prasanthi Nilayam. But please give me a clear answer. In Vrindavan, as typically happens, maybe let's have a glimpse at how the Vrindavan darshans happen, and I'll just I will connect you to an episode which happened in Vrindavan. Can we have the darshan of Vrindavan, a video that we have? So in Vrindavan, I was praying to Bhagawan, please give me some answer, yes or no. I am ready to receive any answer from you. And as would typically happen, Bhagawan will not give you answer so easily unless your devotion and your prayers are very strong. So many days passed, Swami, I will get always the token number which was in double digits. Or if I get a single digit token and get some chance to go ahead, Swami may not come. If you see in Vrindavan, the distance between two blocks is quite wide. So many times I got first line, but he would go from some other block. And there was no chance to be near Bhagawan to ask him for direction. So I said, again, the easiest way to get answer is again through a letter. So I prayed to Bhagawan that I will write a letter to you asking your advice. And the deal with you is that if you take this letter, which is less likely in my mind, if you take this letter, it is your indication that I should continue with my MBA preparation. If you don't take the letter, is the answer from you that don't prepare, focus on your job and your Dharmakshetra seva and be happy. I said, I'm ready. And that is that is the agreement I had with Bhagawan. And I wrote the letter and sat in darshan ground till Swami will not come near. Once or twice he saw the letter but didn't take. So this was a day before I was supposed to go back. In the morning, there was a beautiful darshan like this. Swami would come down and go around the hall. Swami didn't come near. Afternoon, typically in Vrindavan, in those days, Swami will not come down for darshan. The music will start. Swami will come directly onto the stage, sit on the stage, and after some time indicate for the bhajans to start. Bhajans will start. He will take arati and go, and then Trai session. So there won't be a darshan session in which Swami will take a round. The evening was absolutely no chance. So only one darshan was left, was the last day morning. So this previous day evening, I went for bhajan. I sat in Sai Ramesh Hall, and the music started, and we were waiting for Bhagawan to come. And there was this beautiful wooden door which was prominent at that point, because we would keep on looking at that door, and door opens and Swami enters on the stage. So we kept on looking at the door. A long time passed by, unusually long time, and Swami didn't come. And suddenly there was a hush, and Swami was coming from the side, something similar to what you saw in the video, from the side road of the Sai Ramesh Hall. He came from there. There was a group of devotees had come, I don't know from where, and Swami came to bless them. So he blessed those devotees and came inside Sai Ramesh Hall and started going around the Ramesh Hall like a usual darshan. So as one would expect, this should send the waves of joy for me, but it was not so. I really was shattered because I had not brought my letter with me, because I assumed Swami won't come down. And I said, what to do? I had two minds, whether I can get up, rush to my room, which was outside the ashram compound, but if I get up, Sevadal will catch me, and I finished. So I didn't know what to do, and I had a book with me. That time books were allowed to be taken to darshan ground. So I had this beautiful book on Bhagawan, which is Loving God by Kasturiji, one of the most beloved books for Sai fraternity. So when I looked at that book, I said, Bhagawan, you are the loving God, and why are you playing with me like this? And what should I do? And I just flipped through the book. And as I flipped through, I find my letter inside the book. It was not a miracle, by the way. What had happened was, that day morning, when I went back to my room after morning darshan, my letter was in my pocket, and I kept it on the table in the hotel room, and it was flying because the fan was on. So I just took it so that it should not fall down and put it inside the book to preserve it. And I didn't know that I had put it inside the book, and I carried it in the evening without knowing that the letter was with me. So the letter was indeed with me, and then I prayed to Bhagawan, Swami, our agreement is very clear. Today is the last chance probably. If you take this letter, I continue with my studies for MBA. Otherwise, I drop. The moment I go back to Mumbai tomorrow, I drop my preparations and focus on my sadhana and my seva. So again, one more thing I told Bhagawan was, as you have said, I will not get up from my seat. I was in third row in the block I was sitting. I said, I will not get up. I will stretch, but as a discipline, I should not get up. So I will not go in front. If you want to take the letter, you will take from wherever you are. So that is very clear. So I kept on praying this, and Swami kept walking, came. He entered the block where I was sitting, and as it would normally happen, he was walking from the other side, from the next block, not towards my side. And I said, this is again a lost chance. But anyway, I was clear that if he doesn't take letter, the answer is clear. Swami came halfway through, actually turned towards where I was sitting, came very near, didn't even look at me. There was some foreigner sitting in front of me. Swami started talking to him something. Some asked him something which I was in no mind to hear what he was talking. I was just praying that Swami, give me guidance, give me your answer. And I was just trying to extend my letter as much as possible to the front. So Swami was standing like this, about 3 feet away. I am stretching this letter. Swami spoke to that foreigner for about 10-15 seconds, completed the conversation, turned and started going, didn't even look at me. As he turned and he was going, and I almost thought of going back. I was in my knees. I thought of going down and sitting. He just extended his hand like this, plucked the letter from my hand and went away without even looking at me, without even looking at that letter. And that was the indication. He said that continue to your studies. And after I came back, I completely focused on my entrance exam. I wrote CAT exam so that I get ready for my MBA entrance exam in Prasanthi. I remember I started jogging in the morning in Mumbai so that when I go to Prasanthi Nilayam, I won't find it odd because jogging was compulsory those days in hostel. So I started preparing all that I would need in Prasanthi Nilayam. And with Bhagawan's blessing in 95, when I applied, I did get opportunity to join Bhagawan's college. But in this whole episode, Bhagawan sent one more message, that don't take Swami for granted. Swami's grace is there forever, but you have to put your efforts. This was a big learning I had, which I have kept in my mind all through my life. And I remember one occasion, in one private session, one senior devotee was presenting some problem in life, I think in his business. And he kept on telling Swami, I need your blessings, I need your grace. And Swami's reply was, my grace is there, sir. Where is your effort? My grace is there. Where is your effort? And that was a big learning for me, that only Bhagavan's grace is not enough. We have to put our efforts. And that's what Swami sort of made me go through before I joined his college in Prasanthi. After I joined in 1995, the Swami goes one step ahead in teaching, right, as you go ahead. So the first interaction happened somewhere in August, or I think July of 95, when I joined. And Swami was going in the darshan hall. He had gone behind where presently the Rama statue is there. Some work was going on. And he was coming back, and I was sitting on the path. And as he came near me, he asked me a question. Kidhar se aaya? Where did you come from? The actual word Swami used was, where did you come from? And the natural reply I gave was, Mumbai, Swami. Swami just heard, didn't say anything, went away. That was the first ever interaction of mine with Bhagawan as a student. This was in July or August of 95. In December of 95, I got another golden opportunity to come closer to Bhagawan, is when there was an international medical conference organized in Prasanthi Nilayam, and Swami was selecting students to serve the delegates who would come. And one day it happened during darshan when he sent warden to select students. So the warden selected a student who was sitting right next to me, and those days the term which was typically used was the form boys. And typically he had picked up about 7 or 8 form boys whom Swami would speak to often and call them to interview room. He picked up this boy who was sitting next to me. He was 1 year senior to me. He went ahead, and the warden looked at me and said, come, and asked me to go. And I went, and I realized even I have to go to interview room. I thought it was prasadam distribution, but actually it was going to interview room. And I had no clue what was it for. So as I entered, I realized that it was for preparation for the International Medical Conference. And Swami was selecting students to serve the delegates. And when Swami saw me in that interview room, his first reaction was, who is this boy? Because in that whole group, probably I was the newest, sort of physically not known to Bhagawan. So he, who is this boy? He Swami asked. And before we could reply, somebody came and Swami spoke something else and the session continued. Then we sat near Bhagawan and Swami started talking to us. And this was the group which was selected by Bhagawan. And again, this group had a lot of chances those days as Bhagawan would do it. And I realized Swami gives chances to serve in a way to shower his grace. In fact, one of my classmates asked this question to Bhagawan when he got a chance of an interview with Swami. He asked Bhagawan, Swami, is this my prapti or my bhakti? And Swami said, it is your prapti, but use your prapti to develop your bhakti. So it was indeed Swami's grace that he used to call us on some pretext of a seva, but he used to spend a lot of time. We had sort of a declared holiday for about 12 of us. Every day, morning and evening, we will go to mandir. Swami will call us, tell us the work to be done, and talk to us and give a lot of attention and advice. And one such interaction when Swami asked me my name. I was sitting very close to him and Swami looked at me and said, what is your name? And I said, Swami, Neeraj. And Swami said, Swami rhymed, Sai Neeraj Dala Nayana. In the same, Swami rhymed this line and said, Neeraj Dala Nayana. Swami ka eyes बहुत beautiful है, ऐसा devotees बोलता है. This was the exact word Swami said. Swami का eyes बहुत beautiful है, ऐसा devotees बोलता है. And he gave the meaning of Neeraj Dalanayana. But then there was another message for me, especially. He said, Neeraj का meaning क्या? So I said, Swami, lotus ऐसा बोलता है. Swami said, हाँ, Neeraj means Neeraj, born in water. Lotus भी हो सकता है, fish भी हो सकता है, frog भी हो सकता है. This is what Swami said. And it was very sort of a casual remark, but it had a big impact on me when I contemplated, as if it was Swami was communicated that when you get a chance to be near Bhagawan, you choose whether you want to be like the lotus or you want to be like the frog, which Swami used to give the example very often. In one of the sessions, he told this to when all the boys were sitting next to him. He said, you boys, you are like frog in a well. You sit on the lotus flower, but you don't know the value of that beautiful flower which is there, indicating to Bhagavan. But devotees like honeybee come from far away, sit on the flower, choose that honey and go away. If you remain like that frog, you will lose the chance. So Swami sort of indicated to me that it is your choice. You want to be like that lotus, be in the world, but not of it. Still remain focused on Bhagavan, on his nectarine words. Or you be like the frog who goes around or the fish which goes around eating insects or whatever without knowing the value of the lotus. So that was another learning that I got from that particular episode. Another thing which, in fact, one of the sessions, again, Bhagavan asked me this question, where did you come from? And again, I by that time, I had sort of realized that it's sometimes better not to answer immediately. So I just kept quiet. He said, where did you come from again? So I said, Swami, Mumbai. I just murmured. And Swami again didn't say anything. But later on, I thought Swami wants me to contemplate, just ponder over where, Swami's words are, where did you come from? He never said, where do you come from? Where did you come from? So just ask yourself this question, from where do you come? What is your origin? Think about it and maybe you will get that answer. So Swami sent me into this inquiry mode, so to say. And another episode in one of those sessions which happened, which was very beautiful, was in this was in Purnachandra. One afternoon, Swami had called us for doing some work, and we did that work. And Swami said, "Boys, बहुत काम किया, अभी भूख लगता है, थोड़ा खाना लाओ." And he told the lecturers to bring some food. So that day, fresh papayas had some devotee had presented, and it had come to Swami's residence. Swami said, "Bring those papayas." So the papayas were brought. Swami asked the lecturers to cut it and distribute. So each one of us got 2 papayas, and Swami asked us to take and eat. So we were sitting like this next to Bhagawan, and Swami said, "Khao." A bit awkward that Bhagawan is sitting in front of you and you are eating something. So I was looking at Bhagawan, and Swami said, "How?" So out of my just love for Bhagawan, I offered that piece of papaya to Bhagawan. I just extended like this. There is something else to come. So I offered that piece to Bhagawan, and Swami initially he just looked at it. I just indicated through my expression, "Swami, please have it." So Swami looked very lovingly into my eyes. He just took one small piece from that papaya fruit, put it into my mouth, and said, "Ab khao," as if he has blessed that thing. And then, of course, I ate. And that was not the end. After eating, Swami said, "Haan, jao, hands wash karke aao." So he sent all of us inside. So there was a wash basin. We washed our hands, and we are coming back. As we were coming, Swami just caught hold of my hand and said, "Baitho, idhar baitho." He said, "Sit here." So I was sitting right next to his feet, right next to him, right, very close to his feet. And then Swami started talking to all of us. Just after a while, he looked into my eyes and said, "What do you want?" So again, a question out of the blue. And honestly, at that point of time, I was so in state of so much of joy and peace. I really didn't have anything to ask from Bhagavan. Really, I didn't have anything. So I said, "Swami, I want nothing." Swami again asked, "What do you want?" I said, "Swami, nothing, Swami. I'm happy." Third time, Swami asked, "Kya chahiye? What do you want? Mango." And I just looked into his eyes and said, "Swami, I want you." It just came out of me. I said, "Swami, I want you." To tell you honestly, I didn't know what I meant by the statement. It just came out of my heart. I said, "Swami, I want you." Swami looked at me and smiled and waved his hand and created this ring and asked for my hand and put it into my ring finger very lovingly and said, "How is the fit?" And I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, exact fit. This was 14 December 1995. That ring is exactly fit even now. And more so for a tabla student, because when we play tabla, I was advised not to wear it in this finger because it hits against the tabla and there is a chance of it breaking. So I was told you should remove it and put it into your pocket or your other hand, which I do normally. It is so well fits that I can easily remove it or put it any point of time. That fit has remained right from 1995 even till date. And that is Swami's way of giving his grace. And the beautiful golden years, 2 years of students passed by and a lot of interaction. I was blessed by Bhagawan to be taken to Kodaikanal, which is probably a very, very coveted chance that any student looks for. For me, it was very crucial because I wanted to see Bhagawan from close ends. What Bhagawan does, because typically in Kodaikanal, you get a chance to be around Bhagawan for about 8 hours a day, literally about 8 hours a day. So I was blessed in both the years I studied there, 96 summer and 97 summer, to go to Kodaikanal. And one such session, one of the things that all the students look for, apart from the interactions with Bhagawan, is the photo session. So this is a typical photo session that will happen in those days. That is Bhagawan's car. And Swami will stand there and he will ask our boys to come and take photos. So one by one, students will come and photos will be given. So this is one of those photos. And there were about 30 of us, all students, teachers, and even the senior staff who were taken as invitees. and Swami will give photo for each one of us. And after some time, all of us finished the photo, and it was like this. Swami was with the car alone. And this was the photo clicked by me. Swami along with car. That's all, nobody else. And when, as if to answer my inquisitiveness for this photo, so as we came back to Swami's residence, Swami said, देखो ये photo session में एक learning है. So we were not surprised because Swami's every action has a learning. Swami said, देखो जब भी ये कार का फोटो देता है, क्या होता है? स्वामी है, स्टूडेंट आता है, खड़ा रहता है, फोटो लेता है, जाता है. स्टूडेंट आता है, जाता है. डिवोटी आता है, जाता है. Swami is the only constant. Swami is the only constant. And it's so true in life. If we look into our lives, all the things that happen to us, whether it is relations or our academics or our jobs, whatever, all these are things which come and go. Everything, anything that has come has to go one day. The only thing that we need to keep in mind that we never let go of Bhagawan in our life. He is the only constant. That was another message that Bhagawan gave during that interaction in Kodaikanal. And another thing that very touchy episode, and how Swami teaches us to be in that mode of seva. So typically it would happen that the dining hall sessions in Kodaikanal, the students will get chance in turns to serve in those sessions. So there will be groups of boys done and duties allocated. So you are supposed to do the serving, and after the serving is done, you are supposed to clean the place, ensure everything is spick and span for the next session. And then we retire for the day. So one day, this was lunch session, we completed our serving, the whole batch was over, the whole dining hall was clean, everything put into place, and typically Swami will ask us to rest for a while and come for the afternoon session. So everybody was resting in their room. Around 1:30 in the afternoon, there was a big galata, there was a hush. What has happened? We came to know that Swami has come out of his room and gone to dining hall. And a typical way it happens is, we as students from first floor, we are not supposed to go down unless Swami calls. So we were waiting for Swami's call upstairs, and down Swami was there for a long time. And after some time, when we got called, we were called by our teachers, and really we got a bashing of our life. Because what had happened was, some of us who were supposed to do the cleaning of the wash basins was accidentally not done. Swami had come down, observed the whole dining hall, saw that this basin was unclean. Swami went, rolled up his sleeves and cleaned the basin himself. And when some teacher saw it and started rushing, Swami said, "Don't worry, it is my duty, I will do it." Swami cleaned that wash basin himself to send us a message. If I do give you a seva, do it with full commitment without leaving any chance. There's a big learning that we got on that day from Bhagawan's own experience. And this way, the 2 years of studentship with Bhagawan goes, where we have a lot of learnings. And I had this thought before I went to Prasanthi Nilayam, that I had told my parents that I'm going to Prasanthi Nilayam and I would like to work there after my MBA. I don't want to come back to Mumbai. And Swami was so kind that those 2 years I didn't come back to Mumbai. Some winter vacations, we are allowed to stay in Prasanthi Nilayam. Summer vacations, both the vacations, Swami took me to Kodaikanal. So I stayed all through continuously with Bhagawan those 2 years. And I hope that Swami will allow me to work there after that. So 97, we were in Kodaikanal, and that time Nitin also joined. And Swami, at that time parents came to Kodaikanal, and Swami called us for an interview. I had written my MBA exams second year, and I knew that Swami will raise this topic, that what I should do after my MBA. So I had before I had expected Swami will call for an interview. So before the interview, I had told my parents that if Swami calls for interview and asks what I should do after my MBA, you tell Swami that he wants to work here. Please, for my behalf, you ask. And my mother was very kind. She agreed that, yeah, she will do that. So this was the photo from that interview. Next day, Swami called us for interview. And Swami spoke for a long time about various things. By the time Nitin also had joined. And as expected, the gun came to me and he said, हाँ ये boy MBA किया, खत्म किया, अभी MBA के बाद क्या कर सकता है? Swami will often talk to my mother most. So mother immediately, as rehearsed, she immediately blurted out, Swami, ये दोनों को आपके पास ही रखना है, वो आपके पास ही काम करेंगे. Please keep them with you and allow them to work for you. Swami said, हमारे पास MBA के लिए कुछ काम नहीं, क्या काम दे सकता है? Then I also started, Swami, please, I want to be with you. Swami said, no, no, no. तुमको हमारे इधर सर्विस करना, MBA काहे को किया, 2 साल वेस्ट किया, डायरेक्ट आके काम कर सकता था, वाई 2 साल क्यों वेस्ट किया? हमारे पास काम नहीं, जाओ बाहर जाओ. I said, Swami, please, I want to work for you. Swami said, no, 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 no. बाहर तुमको बहुत अच्छा जॉब देता है, जाओ काम करो. And by that time, Jamuna started flowing. I was really crying and praying to Bhagawan, Swami, please don't send me away. I want to be with you. And Swami kept on insisting, no, no, no. Go out, do work. And he said, एक अच्छा कंपनी है, तुमको उधर जॉब देता है, जाके काम करो. In my mind, I thought that Swami is trying to test me, whether I'm really so sort of assured that I want to work, or maybe I have some interest to go out. So I kept on telling Bhagawan, I felt that I wanted to be with Bhagawan, so I kept on telling Bhagawan, I want to serve you. Please don't send me away. And that interaction went on for a long time, up and down. We telling Bhagawan that I want to serve Bhagawan, and Swami saying, no, go out. And this went for about 10 to 12 minutes. And at one point, Swami became very firm. I was sitting right here to his right side next to his chair, and my hand was on his armchair, and Swami's hand was on my hand. And Swami hit me strongly. Hey, hey, he said, listen to what I say. He said, like how Arjuna said to Krishna, Karishye Vachanam Tava. You say, Karishye Vachanam Tava, and do what I'm telling you to do. It is good for you. So this was a great message. And after that, of course, all of us became silent, because Swami made it very clear that if he's insisting on something that he wanted me to work, there was some purpose for it. And he said that you go, work. And as a typical Sai Krishna, he gave a small hint. जाओ थोड़ा साल काम करो, थोड़ा साल के बाद 3-4 साल के बाद देखता है. He gave a small clue also, which I didn't catch at that point, but I realized that Swami really wanted me to go. And the interview got over, Kodaikanal got over, we came back to Vrindavan. I still had hope in my mind that Swami will allow me to stay back. But it was not to be. He got 3 of us from my batch interviewed in this organization. Swami personally saw that we get interviewed, saw that we prepare, and joined the organization in June of 97. And the work was not even in India, it was in a foreign country, in Indonesia. So we were sent to Indonesia for work. Bhagawan blessed us. And before going, Swami gave us just one message. One day, a few days before we left for Jakarta, in Prasanthi Nilayam, he said, Swami doesn't want anything. Just get one thing. Get good name. Just get good name. A simple sentence, but if you reflect upon it, it has a very deep significance. Because if you want to get good name, first thing is you have to understand what message of Bhagavan is. 2, keep on practicing. 3, practice it consistently, so that it becomes part of your life and it becomes part of your being. So when you really live the message that Bhagavan has given, that is the way you will lead to getting a good name. So Swami gave a sort of an end point. Get a good name. But for that, you have to do all these things. So it was a big lesson for all 3 of us when we went to Jakarta. And Swami's words are so potent. I will just tell that one incident and we will close. Was in 99, when I was in Jakarta and Nitin was in Bhagawan service, Swami had come to Dharmakshetra. Swami had come to Mumbai. And Litesh was in duty in Sathya. And Swami sent a word that call parents for interview. And parents were called to Anand Kutir area in the morning for a special session. So my mother called up my father who was working then, and my father said, I can't come because I am alone in the office and I can't leave and come. So she was alone here in near Anand Kutir. Swami came and looked at mother and said, किधर है तुम्हारा husband नहीं आया? तो she said, Swami, वो ऑफिस गया, उधर छुट्टी नहीं मिला, नहीं आया. Swami said, हाँ वो तो कर्म योगी है, ठीक है, नहीं आया, doesn't matter. तुम अकेला है, अभी कैसा बुला सकता है? नेक्स्ट टाइम आता है, दोनों बॉयज को लेके आता है, तभी बुलाता है. This what he told mother. So when she told this to us, it appeared to me that Swami wanted to console her, that no, I cannot talk to you now, and just give an excuse that none of us are here, neither Nitin or me. So that happened. This was in 99. When I came back to Prasanthi Nilayam in 2001, and 2009, this news came that Swami has agreed to bless the mandir in Harshi. And Swami will take a group of students for that. And I was in Whitefield that point of time when this news came. I was working in the hospital. And Swami had selected a group of boys, typically from the music group. And I was in Whitefield, so I had no clue. So when I came back 2 days later, I was sitting in the bhajan session. And during the session, Swami looked at me and said, go. He indicated, go. And I got up, I went ahead. Swami told another 2-3 bhajan boys to get up and go. And Swami called us for an interview. And we realized later, oh, this was the group Swami had selected to come with him to Harshi, Mumbai. And in that interview, Swami also inquired about my brother, Nitin, and said, तुम्हारा brother किधर बैठा है? So he said, Swami, I said, Swami, अभी दर्शन करके ये बुक ट्रस्ट में ऑफिस में गया है. Swami said, हाँ उसको भी बोलो ज्वाइन करने को. And Swami told the boy who was writing down the names, इसके ब्रदर का, that is आचार्य का भी नाम लिखो. Swami used to call us Acharya. He used to call Nitin as Acharya and used to call me as Acharya Tammudu, the younger brother of Acharya. Acharya का भी नाम लिखो. And he got both the names added into the list. And it happened really that in 2009, we came along with Swami to Harshi and to Dharmakshetra exactly 10 years later, exactly what Swami had said. Next time आता है, दोनों boys को लेके आता है. And he really fulfilled that. And that is the power of Swami's word. A beloved, our most beloved Lord, that who has been with us, and we had got that chance to be in his proximity. And to end with, I thought it would be appropriate that we just celebrated the Valentine Day. And for us, if we have a Valentine, what better choice it would be than our most beloved Bhagawan, who is our divine mother, our father, our close friend also, and our guide and mentor. So there is one song which reflects on Bhagawan and Bhagawan's love. We'll have that song played, and with that I will like to conclude.
You are my Lord, you are my loving Lord. You are my Lord, you are my loving Lord. तुम ही मोरे गिरिधर नागर, तुम ही मोरे घनश्याम, धरती के राजा शिरडी निवासा, तुम ही अयोध्या राम. इतना प्यार तुझसे ही जीवन तुम बिन लगे ना, मन मोरा बाबरा कन्हैया, मन मोरा बाबरा। अश्रु बहे नैनों से उसाए, दर्शन दे अब तो, दर्शन दे अब तो। इस जीवन में मिल जो गए हो, बांधे रखो मेरे राम, बांधे रखो मेरे राम। इतना प्यार पाया है तुमसे, इस जीवन को राह मिली। जग के पालनहारे, इस युग के अवतार हो रामा, इस युग के अवतार। तुम ही हो जग के पालनहारे, इस युग के अवतार हो बाबा, इस युग के अवतार। मुझसे मिला मैं मिलके तुम्हीं से, ऐसा है तेरा प्यार, ऐसा है तेरा प्यार। तुम ही मोरे गिरिधर नागर, तुम ही मोरे घनश्याम, तुम ही मोरे घनश्याम, तुम ही मोरे घनश्याम। You are my Lord, you are my Lord.
Dear brothers and sisters, we are indeed so lucky that we have this avatar who is love, love walking on 2 feet at his call, who came into our life, and now it is for us to ensure that his love flows through us to all the people around us. And with that message of love on this beautiful memory of Valentine Day, I extend my loving Sairam to all of you, and with prayerful salutations to Bhagawan, I close. Thank you. Jai Sairam.
I think each of these Samarpan sessions has, key points for all of us to take away. And the point of bhakti and prapti, which brother told us today, is a very important key point, which I think all of us can take forward. I would take this opportunity to thank Brother Neeraj Acharya for taking his time out and sharing his invaluable thoughts with us today. As a token of our love, I would request Mahesh Manyal uncle, Bandra Samiti convener, to come up on stage and offer our token of love to Brother Neeraj Acharya.